My dear friends, how many cries echo unheard behind the walls of luxury homes. In the bustling city of Ado-Ekiti, where mansions cast shadows over modest homes, lived a young woman named Folakimi. She worked as a cleaner at Golden Spoon restaurant, spending her days mopping floors and scrubbing tables. But in the quiet moments between shifts, she would write poetry in a worn notebook she kept in her uniform pocket. Despite her humble job, Folakimi carried herself with quiet dignity, inherited from her father, a primary school teacher, and her mother, who sold vegetables at the local market. Destiny changed its course one evening when Adebayo, regional director at one of the city's biggest banks, noticed her. While dining with his colleagues, he had dropped his expensive pen. Folakimi, who was cleaning nearby, picked it up and returned it with such grace that it caught his attention. "There's something different about you," he said, surprised to find himself intrigued by a mere cleaner. Despite warnings from his banking friends about marrying beneath his status, Adebayo pursued her, dazzling her family with expensive gifts and promises. The courtship was like a dream. He would wait until her shift ended, driving her home in his sleek car. Her parents, though concerned about the vast difference in their social status, prayed this would give their daughter a better life. 3 months after their lavish wedding, the dream shattered. One evening, Adebayo returned from work to find Folakimi and her mother watching a local drama on television in his elegant living room. "What is this?" he exploded. "You've turned my house into a servant's quarters." His eyes burned with disgust. "Look at you both, sprawled on my imported leather sofa like you're still in your roadside home." When her mother tried to explain, he cut her off. "In this house, we don't behave like poor people. Save your market woman habits for your husband's mud house." That night, after forcing Folakimi's mother to live in shame, Adebayo unleashed his true nature. "I lifted you from scrubbing toilets to living in a mansion, yet you still behave like a cleaner," he sneered, pacing the living room. "Did you think marrying me would erase your background?" The abuse became a daily ritual. Each morning as he left for work in his expensive suit, he would remind her, "Don't forget where I found you, mopping floors and cleaning tables. Your uniform is still hanging in that restaurant storage room." When her father's roof leaked during the rainy season, Adebayo made a show of paying for repairs. For months afterward, he used it as ammunition. "Your father couldn't even fix his own roof. I had to save him from drowning in his sleep. This is the family you came from, people who can't even maintain a simple mud house." During dinner parties with his colleagues, he would deliberately humiliate her. "My wife," he would announce proudly, "used to clean the very restaurant where we met. Now look at her, trying to act like she belongs in our circle." His friends would laugh, while Folakimi sat there, forcing a smile through her tears. When her mother fell ill and needed medicine, Adebayo made her beg for money. "Your market woman mother probably got sick from sleeping in that damp house," he taunted. "Should I buy her a mosquito net too? List all the things your poor family needs, let me show everyone how charitable I am." Even her poetry wasn't safe from his cruelty. Finding her notebook one day, he read it aloud mockingly, a cleaner's daughter trying to be a writer. "Know your place, Folakimi. Some of us were born for greatness, others for serving tables." Each time she tried to defend her family's dignity, he would remind her, "Without me, you'd still be wearing that ugly cleaner's uniform, smelling of bleach and leftover food. I made you somebody. Never forget that." My friends, in our society, how many women endure such humiliation because a man paid for a roof? How many dreams are mocked because they were born in a humble home? One Sunday afternoon, Adebayo's friends came to visit with their wives. As Folakimi served them drinks, one of his colleagues remarked on how well-trained she was. Of course, Adebayo laughed coldly. "She learned service at Golden Spoon, didn't she? Once a servant, always a servant. At least now she serves in designer clothes I bought, not that cheap uniform." That same evening, When her parents called to check on her, Adebayo grabbed the phone. "Your daughter is living like a queen now," he boasted. "Remember how you used to eat bread and beans? Now she eats at fancy restaurants, well, not cleaning them anymore." He laughed at his own joke. The next week, during a visit to her parents' home, Adebayo made a show of looking around their modest compound. "Look at this place," he said loudly enough for neighbors to hear. "Folokimi, I saved you from this life. Your children would have been born on these cement floors instead of my hospital's VIP ward." He even started monitoring her calls with her younger siblings. "Don't send them money," he warned. "Let them learn to work like you did. Maybe another rich man will find them cleaning tables too." When her father's old car broke down, Adebayo reluctantly paid for repairs, but his generosity came with a price. "Now I'm maintaining your entire family," he complained daily. "A teacher who can't even afford car repairs, no wonder you ended up a cleaner." The final straw came during a dinner party at their home. As Folokimi arranged the plates, old habits from her restaurant days, Adebayo announced to his guests, "See how natural she looks doing that. You can take the girl out of the restaurant, but you can't take the restaurant out of the girl." That night, something broke inside Folokimi. As she stared at herself in their expensive bathroom mirror, her father's words echoed in her mind, "Money can feed your stomach, but it can't nourish your soul." My people, when did we start measuring human worth by the size of their father's house? How long should gratitude become chains that bind? That night, after the dinner party, Adebayo was particularly cruel. The sight of Folokimi arranging plates with such expertise had reminded him of her past. "Look at you," he spat, loosening his designer tie. "All these months of living in luxury, yet you still move like a common cleaner. Did you see how embarrassed I was when you started clearing the tables like you were back at Golden Spoon?" Folokimi stood silently, her hands trembling. "I was just trying to help." "Help?" he cut her off with a harsh laugh. "I didn't marry you to have a house help. I have servants for that. Or have you forgotten? Should I pay you salary too? How much did you earn scrubbing tables?" He grabbed her worn poetry notebook from where she had hidden it under their bed. "And this nonsense you write, who do you think will want to read the thoughts of a cleaner? Your father couldn't afford to send you to university, and now you think you're a writer." When she reached for her notebook, he slapped her hard across the face. "This is what happens when you show kindness to poor people. They forget their place. Your mother sells vegetables in the sun all day, your father teaches primary school children, and you clean restaurant toilets. That's your family's level." Then came the words that would change everything, "Maybe I should send you back to Golden Spoon. At least there you knew your place in life. Look at how ungrateful you've become, forgetting who gave you this life of luxury." But this time, something was different. This time, when he raised his hand again, Folokimi caught it midair. The fear in her eyes had been replaced by something else, dignity finding its voice. "My father may be poor," she said quietly, but he never had to raise his hand to prove his worth. Enraged by her defiance, Adebayo grabbed a knife from the dinner table. "I'll teach you and your poor family what happens when you bite the hand that feeds you. What happened next will change both their lives forever. My people, at what point does gratitude become slavery? When does help become a weapon?" As Adebayo lunged with the knife, years of cleaning floors had made Folokimi quick on her feet. She dodged, scrambling toward the guest bathroom, the only room with a strong lock. "You ungrateful rat," he roared, stabbing at the door. "After everything I did for your worthless family, I should have left you with your mop and bucket." Through the door, she could hear him ranting, "Your father still rides that rickety motorcycle to school. Your mother still sits in the sun selling her rotten vegetables. Without me, you're nothing but a common cleaner." But fate had other plans. The commotion drew attention. Their new neighbor, Oluwasian, heard the chaos. Together with Temitope, who lived nearby, they broke down the front door. "So this is how you treat the woman you claim to have lifted from poverty?" Oluwasian's voice cut through Adebayo's rage. "By trying to send her back to her maker." They found Folakimi trembling in the bathroom, while Adebayo, in his expensive suit, looked like a madman, knife still in hand. "She should be grateful," he shouted, pointing the knife around. "Do you know where I found her? Cleaning tables. Look at what I made her." "No," Temitope said firmly, helping Folakimi up. "Look at what you tried to break. A woman whose only crime was being born poor." As they led her away, Adebayo's last words echoed through the mansion: "Go back to your father's leaking house. Go back to your mother's market stall. Let's see if your cleaner's salary can buy you designer clothes." But Folakimi didn't look back. In Oluwasian's house, attended by his elderly housekeeper who treated her with more dignity than her wealthy husband ever had, she finally let her tears fall. "I may have been born poor," she whispered, clutching her poetry notebook, "but my parents gave me something money can't buy: self-respect. My people, how many women endure abuse because a man once fixed their father's roof? How many souls are crushed under the weight of false gratitude?" In an ironic twist of fate, Oluwasian, his neighbor who rescued Adebayo's wife that night, was revealed as the new bank executive in their office, overseeing all the branches. His first act of duty: transferring Adebayo to a remote branch, far from his luxurious life. But the real victory came in smaller moments. Folakimi returned to Golden Spoon Restaurant, not as a cleaner this time, but as its new owner. Oluwasian had seen the business potential in her hard work and helped her secure a loan. "You see," Oluwasian told her, "I watched my own mother clean offices at night to pay my school fees. There's no shame in honest work." Her first act as owner: implementing better working conditions for the cleaners. Her second: creating a small library corner where workers could read and write during their breaks. When Adebayo heard of her success, he came crawling back, his designer clothes now wrinkled, his arrogance deflated. "I was wrong," he pleaded. "Let me fix things. I'll buy your parents a new house, a new car." Folakimi's response was calm: "My father still rides his motorcycle to school, teaching children to dream beyond their circumstances. My mother still sells her vegetables, proud that her daughter learned dignity from her example. Their worth isn't in what they own, but in what they taught me." At the restaurant's grand reopening, her parents sat in places of honor. Her father in his humble teacher's clothes, her mother in a market woman's wrapper, both beaming with pride. Her poetry, born in secret between cleaning shifts, now hung framed on the restaurant's walls. One poem read: "They called my father poor, but he taught me to be rich in spirit. They mocked my mother's market stall, but she showed me how to stand tall. They sneered at my cleaner's uniform, but it clothed me in dignity." Oluwasian, who had grown to love both her strength and her gentle heart, proposed not with expensive rings but with a simple promise: "Your background is not your shame but your strength." Today, Folakimi runs the most successful restaurant chain in Ado-Ekiti. Each branch has a small library and offers educational support to staff. Her parents still live in their modest home, now weatherproofed properly, but they've refused any grand gestures. As for Adebayo, they say he now eats alone at roadside bukas, humbled by life's twist. My people, let this story teach us: a father's honest poverty is worth more than a husband's cruel wealth. The hands that clean tables today might sign checks tomorrow. True love lifts you up without reminding you where it found you. Your background is your foundation, not your prison. Tell me, my people, would you rather be a cleaner with dignity or a prisoner in a golden cage? Has anyone ever tried to shame you for your humble beginnings? Remember, dear friends, that the child of a teacher might not own a car, but they inherit wisdom. The daughter of a market woman might not wear gold, but she wears pride that money can't buy. Thank you for watching this story. Please share with younger generations to impact wisdom and build a better society.